David, I think there's two questions that people are really asking right now is, number one, can crypto get Kamala Harris to pivot? Can crypto advocacy be bipartisan? And number two, if she hasn't pivoted yet, is it too late? I mean, we are less than 90 days from the next election. So I think we'll attempt to answer those questions, or at least present some evidence to let listeners decide on what's going on themselves. But before we get there, I think we need to check in on how the election is going. So what are we looking at here?
Yeah, the odds of Kamala, according to Polymarket, the odds of Kamala beating Donald Trump are up to 10%. This screenshot shows 9%, and this screenshot's 24 hours old. We're actually at 10%, where Kamala's at 55%, and Donald Trump's at 45%. This is a very firm lead, I would say. I know these are odds, and so this technically isn't like meaningfully different from a coin flip, but I've always been used to just like, if somebody is predicted to win the election by 55%, like I kind of consider that a very far lead.
Yeah, I mean, we had Nate Silver on the podcast, who's kind of the guru around elections, and he has indicated that Kamala does have a lead, but he still sort of, with his margin of error, considers it somewhat of a coin flip. I mean, that's his take. But I think the noticeable thing is these numbers have reversed on Polymarket prediction markets. David, it was not like a month ago. It's just like shortly after the assassination attempt. And Trump was at 65. Now
I think he hit 73. He hit 73 right after the assassination attempt.
Like absolutely incredible. And that was probably a temporary spike. I mean, really hard to sustain those types of odds. Yeah. But I think the big story here is how much this has changed. So it seems like the momentum has really shifted here.
And it's the trend as well. Like Kamala has been in a straight line up ever since she took the candidacy, and Donald Trump has been in a straight line down ever since his like assassination attempt. So like while we're at 10%, like it's a 10% and trending even greater to Kamala. I've been listening to some political podcasts just because that's the season that we're in. One, Pirate Wires, the much more right-leaning pro Donald Trump
was that with
podcast, and
Mike Solana?
Mike Solana, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Does he host that?
And then also, he hosts that. Yeah, he's on that. Cool. And then the other one I listen to is Pod Save America, which is like very lib. So it's like a tale of two podcasts. Like you're getting both perspectives. And like the Mike Solana one, I hate it when people use this word applied to me. So I apologize to Mike for using it on him. But just like the words that were in my head was just like, this is cope. Like, it's just like he was running through like all the reasons as to like why this, like how this is so crazy that Kamala is the Democratic candidate. And to me, I was like, yeah, like this is like high Kamala percentage cope going on. And then I go over to like the Pod Save America one, which is like very pro Kamala, anti-Trump, and they are just taking victory laps. Yeah. And so like sentiment, this is the sentiment like across the political spectrum right now.
Yeah. And you and I are ETH holders, okay? We know what cope feels like and what it sounds like.
I know what cope feels like.
Yeah, that looks like cope to me. It's funny. On the other hand, it was a few weeks ago, and it seemed like the Democrats on kind of like the Democrat side, there was immense amount of cope. They could not handle that, Trump was taking the lead. And so, look, momentum shifts can happen. I'm sure this could happen back and forth a few more times, but it leads to a question that is still unanswered. There's this opportunity that people have seen. Obviously, Biden White House, he let the anti-crypto army kind of like run roughshod over his administration, administrative policy. But Kamala's trying to get elected. Is this a chance for her to reset? Is this a chance for the Democrats, the White House, Kamala Harris to pivot on crypto? That was the question. So we've got a few data points on that. The first was this. This is in the block. This happened last Thursday, so August 8th. Crypto executives meet White House officials to discuss policy grievances during virtual roundtable. So they got on Zoom. What was this meeting? Who are the participants? Set the landscape for us.
Kind of who's who amongst like this topic. From the White House side, U.S. Deputy Secretary of the Treasury Wally Adeyemo, a very important character. National Economic Council Director Lael Brainerd, White House Deputy Chief of Staff Bruce Reed, Directory of Legislative Affairs for Vice President Kamala Harris, Christine Lucius, and then others. And then from the crypto side, some names that y'all are definitely going to recognize. Hayden Adams from Uniswap, David Ripley from Kraken, Jeremy Allaire from Circle, Chris Dixon from A16Z, Paul Graywall from Coinbase. Wow, these are all people that we've had on the podcast. Brad Carlinghouse and Chris Larson from Ripple. Haven't had them. Mark Cuban, and then also Anthony Scaramucci. So like a pretty good lineup of like force movers, both in Capitol Hill and in crypto. How did the meeting go? How did it go? This went well, right? Why wouldn't this go well? How did it go,
Ryan?
Ryan?
Asked you. Let's talk about the
I'm assuming this
side.
went totally fine.
Well, this is a article title from Fox News. So it says crypto executives clash with Democrat leaders in heated Zoom meeting. Heated Zoom meeting. Crypto executives clash. Again, so this is Fox News saying this, but their quote is, executives didn't hold back on telling the administration reps how much damage they've done to the crypto industry and to the Democratic Party with their actions against digital assets. Apparently, at one point, a White House official said that, hey, the banks and regulators, they're not really coming after the crypto industry. Like, this is kind of fake news. It's not what's happening. And in response, an executive, so one of those names probably that you mentioned, a crypto executive, asked for a show of hands. Who among the crypto crowd here has ever been denied banking services because of White House policy? And nearly all of the industry representatives, all of the crypto people raised their hands. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So
yikes.
Yikes.
That's a big ruh-roh.
Can you imagine this? Yeah, so this is Nick Carter, of course, weighing in.
For the record, if we had been on that call, our hands would have also been raised.
Bank of
we
America.
have also been debanked. Thanks, Bank of America.
Letter. We're at a little credit union who just like, I guess we've squeaked by
I love our Virginia credit union, dude. They're cute.
You've never been there. You don't know Alan, the bank teller.
I've never been to Virginia.
Face to face with Alan, and I've gone, and he's like, Bankless? What? Oh, Bankless?
Sup?
Anyway, so that's the bad side of it, which feels kind of bad. The good side of it, I suppose, this is a quote from the block saying that this was actually notable. This is a source in the block. The big difference compared to a previous meeting was who was attended. You had people like Wally, you had Lyle, who are the most senior level representatives overseeing crypto policy in the Biden administration in terms of non-regulators. So this is very much seen as moving the ball forward, given those who attended. I'll note, Kamala Harris did not attend, but you had
important person was not there.
Yes. Ro Khanna hosted the meeting, who's a notable Democrat who is in support of crypto, and he's been running quarterback to try to rally the troops amongst the Democrats to support crypto policy. We're actually having him on the podcast. And
very
he
excited
said
for that podcast.
It was a spirited conversation, positive dialogue. There's much frustration in the industry, so at least he acknowledged that. And he says, I'm hopeful that as a consequence of these meetings, the administration will issue a positive statement in the coming weeks. So he's trying within his own party to apply some pressure, maybe some mild pressure. I'm not sure. He's doing great work, I think. It's just like, is there any evidence? So what do the crypto people say in the aftermath of this?
Scaramucci, who's actually somehow adjacently close to crypto, says, it's encouraging that these high-level officials took the time to show up and listen. My colleagues in the crypto space understandably want action now, but that's not how things work in Washington. I think we're making steady progress. Paul Graywall, the chief legal officer for Coinbase, says, any conversation on moving beyond this administration's unproductive record on crypto is positive. It's not too late, but time is running short. The White House should publicly back the Senate's efforts to pass a bipartisan market structure bill, as the House has done, and sign it into law. And so mixed reactions from that. It's very concerning to me that like the leading like advisor to the Harris campaign, Adameno, is like denying the fact that they have been like operating choke point 2.0 on crypto. Like the fact that they don't think that that's real is like very concerning. It's a big bummer that Kamala Harris wasn't there. Just show up, please. I know she's a busy lady, but just like, come on.
Just a first meeting, though, David.
Yeah.
Just a first meeting.
The meetings like this in the political sphere, you need like 6 of them, and like the optimistic case is that each one becomes like bigger and more important, and this is the first one. That's the optimistic case.
I would echo Paul, though. Time is running out. So the good news is, yes. I suppose they did have a second. So there is this Twitter account that sprung up. It's sort of an initiative. I'm not sure who's behind it, called Crypto for Harris. And they hosted another meeting. And this time the big guns came out. Senator Chuck Schumer was actually there. So how did that meeting go? Better.
Chuck Schumer, while on the meeting, says, we all believe in the future of crypto. Congress has a responsibility to provide common sense and sound regulation on crypto, and we need your support to make sure that any proposal is bipartisan. And so that was like Chuck Schumer like beating the drum, like great, glad to have you on the team. Thanks, Chuck, for being there. Jake Bruckman, who was there, this is a crypto VC, definitely one of us, gave probably the most comprehensive like analysis of the meeting that I thought, and gave it like kind of a thumbs down of a review. So like in one way, kind of glad it happened. Thank you, Chuck. But overall, here's what kind of Jake said about it. I thought a town hall was for hearing people's opinions. Instead, we got a few lectures of the participants' views of crypto and where it should go politically. I didn't see anyone resembling crypto company founders. Investors and founders are the bread and butter of any industry. In short, it satisfied the Harris prong, but not the crypto prong in the Crypto for Harris name, as far as I see it. No one really mentioned the SEC policy, the Biden's veto, or the lack of clarity. It seems like we'll just move forward and happily make this a bipartisan issue, even though Harris-backed policies made it partisan in the first place. So I'm going to say that, summarize Jake's take as like a pretty firm thumbs down on the effort behind this particular meeting.
Yeah, and someone that wasn't there, as you mentioned, was Kamala Harris. Yeah, it's like missing action, not there. Not even her VP was there. So I think it's safe to conclude at this point, we have not seen a pivot from Kamala Harris. Like there's no evidence of anything like that happening.
If you want some amount of hopium, because I've been listening to these political podcasts, the Harris administration is not giving out any policy indications about anything at all. They are like the strategy right now for the Harris administration, the Harris campaign, is to just have Harris be generic Democrat. Yeah. Because the generic Democrat is actually working in her favor, and like they're not giving Donald Trump's like campaign any sort of like surface area to latch onto. So like she's kind of just like being very defensive and being generic Democrat. So like no policy is coming out of the Harris camp. And now maybe that's the reason as to like why she hasn't decided to make a move on crypto. Maybe that's hopium. That's probably hopium. But like, you know, I think that's a valid line of reasoning.
Yeah, I think at this point, like, silence is basically an admission that there's going to be no real change in the White House. At least that's how I'm interpreting it.
If you enjoyed all of that, then you'll absolutely love the Bankless newsletter. Join over 300,000 fellow readers, all for free. Click below to sign up.